His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Discourse, Acharya Sayer, the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjali Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Galadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Today is the appearance day of Sri Nityananda or Lord Nityananda. We worship Krishna and Balaram as also Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda. Chaitanya and Nityananda are the incarnations of Krishna and Balaram as devotees, in the form of devotees. 500 years back in Nadia, Navadvip, Krishna and Balaram incarnated as devotees in order to preach the Sankirtan movement. So today is the appearance day. It is Magha Masa, Shukla Paksha, Trayodashi, Nityananda Trayodashi. So I will read about who is Lord Nityananda from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a verse that describes the position of Lord Nityananda. So that verse is on the display here. Please repeat that verse. Sankarshana Karana Toya Shayi Sankarshana Karana Toya Shayi Sankarshana Karana Toya Shayi Garbhoda cha payobdhi shayi garbhodashayi cha payobdhi shayi garbhodashayi cha payobdhi shayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalaha sanitya sheshascha yasyamsha kalaha sanitya sheshascha yasyamsha kalaha sanitya nandakya Ramaha Sharanam Mamastu Nandakya Rama Sharanam Mamastu Nandakya Rama Sharanam Mamastu Sankarshana Karana Toyashayi Garbhodashayi cha payobdhishayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalasanitya nandakya Rama sharanam mamastu sankarshana karana toyashayi Garbhodashayi cha payobdhishayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalasanitya nandakya Rama sharanam mamastu sankarshana karana toyashayi Garbhodashayi cha payobdhishayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalasanitya nandakya Rama sharanam mamastu sankarshana karana toyashayi Garbhodashayi cha payobdhishayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalasanitya nandakya Rama sharanam mamastu sankarshana karana toyashayi Garbhodashayi cha payobdhishayi sheshascha yasyamsha kalasanitya nandakya Rama sharanam mamastu sankarshana Mahasankarshana in the spiritual sky Karanatoyashayi Karanodakashayi Vishnu who lies in the causal ocean Garbhodashayi Garbhodakashayi Vishnu who lies in the Garbhodaka ocean of the universe Cha and Paya Abdhishayi Shirodakashayi Vishnu who lies in the ocean of milk Sheshaha Sheshanaga the couch of Vishnu Cha and Yasya whose Amsha plenary portions Kala and parts of the plenary portions Saha He Nityananda Akhya known as Lord Nityananda Ramaha Lord Balaram Sharanam shelter, mama, mine, astu, let there be. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. May Sri Nityananda Rama be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana, Sheshanaga and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean and ocean of milk are His plenary portions and the portions of His plenary portions. Please repeat this translation. May Sri Nityananda Rama be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana, Sheshanaga and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, the Garbha ocean and ocean of milk are His plenary portions and the portions of His plenary portions. So this verse encapsulates the position of Lord Nityananda. It says that Nityananda is actually Balaram. Balaram is also called as Rama. So Nityananda is Balaram. Balaram is in the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka. In Krishna Loka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is residing along with his brother Balaram and performing transcendental pastimes with his devotees. That is the spiritual world. Now that spiritual world expands. Krishna Loka, also known as Goloka, Vrindavana, that expands into many other spiritual planets called as Vaikuntha Loka. So there is Krishna Loka, the planet in which Krishna resides. It is his personal abode, personal planet. That's also called Vrindavan in the spiritual world. And the Vaikuntha planets, many other spiritual planets, where Krishna expands as Sankarshana. Krishna expands as Balaram and Balaram expands as Sankarshana. What is the meaning of expanding? God is one, but His personality is not a limited personality. God is a person, but we are also persons. But our personality is different. We are limited persons. We cannot simultaneously be in two places. Just like a gentleman, at home he is the father or husband of his wife or of his son. In the office, he may be the boss, the manager. In the tennis court, he may be a friend with other friends. So you can understand the same person, three different roles, three different moods, three different positions, three different relationships, right? A person can have. Now in each place, his mood, his relationship, his dress, his appearance is different. God is also a person, but He is not limited like persons of this world. He simultaneously can be present in millions of places, in millions of relationships, with millions of devotees, simultaneously, at the same time. That is God. He is a supreme person, unlimited person. He is not limited. I cannot be here and in my house at the same time. I can't be in the temple and the house at the same time. I can't be in my office and my tennis court at the same time. But God can be simultaneously everywhere. Personally, as the person, He can be everywhere. So that personality is being described here. That personality, you have to understand, the first person, the original person, Adi Purusha, is Krishna. The form, the original form, Krishna. In Vrindavan. That Krishna is also simultaneously present as Balaram. That same Krishna, the same Supreme Lord, expands as Balaram. Now as Balaram, he is also God, same God, but he is in a different role. He plays the role of the brother of Krishna. He plays the role of a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. He plays the role of being the son of Mother Rohini, of one of his devotees. He plays that role. That is the relationship. You see? That is Vrindavan. Now, the Vaikuntha planet, the same Krishna first expands as Balaram, that Balaram expands as Sankarshana. Balaram expands as Sankarshana. Krishna expands as Vasudeva. Balaram expands as Sankarshana. Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha are two more expansions. So in the Vaikuntha planets are many. Vrindavan planet is one, but Vaikuntha planets are many. So in the Vaikuntha planets, in the spiritual world, spiritual sky, just like we have a material sky here, there is a spiritual sky that is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyakta sanatana paraha paravyoma. Paravyoma is a spiritual sky. Vyoma means sky. So we have experience of material sky. Material sky, there are so many planets. Yes, night you see in the sky, so many planets you can see. Like that, there is a spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, there are many spiritual planets. They are called Vaikuntha planets. Vaikuntha means that place where there is no misery, no anxiety, no death, no disease, no old age, no destruction. Eternal world, that is spiritual world. In that world, there is eternal bliss, knowledge. So that is where, that is the world of God, original abode of God. So God is present in the spiritual world, Paravyoma, in Krishna Loka as Krishna and Balaram, in Vaikuntha planets as Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, in these forms. So these four forms further expand into many other forms called Narayana. Narayana, this Sankarshana particularly expands as Narayana. And Narayana is the predominating deity of each Vaikuntha planet, or the president of the Vaikuntha planet, each Vaikuntha planet. Narayana. He is called Narayana. Narayana also means he who lies on the water, the reservoir of water. So, Narayana is the predominating deity of each Vaikuntha planet, and that Narayana further expands. All of them are God Himself, the same Supreme Person, Krishna, Govinda, same Supreme Person. They are called, the expansions are called plenary expansions or plenary portions. Plenary means each of the expansions or persons who are expanded or who are portions have got the same power as God. Whatever power Krishna has got, The same power Balaram has got. Whatever power Balaram has got, same power Sankarsana has got. Whatever power Sankarsana has got, same power Narayana has got. Like this, the expansions are many, 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 many. Unlimited expansions. So all of them are God, the Supreme Person. Those expansions are not like the human beings or the devatas or the different persons in different planets. The persons of this world are different, and the personality of God or the expansions of the personality of Godhead are different. Should never confuse one for the other or mistake one to be the same as the other. So, Narayana expands into another form of Sankarshana, the second Sankarshana, and that second Sankarshana expands into 3 Vishnu forms. These 3 Vishnu forms are present in the material world. All the forms of Sankarshana, Narayana, Balaram and Krishna are in the spiritual world, spiritual planets. Whereas 3 Vishnu forms are in this material world. So the first Vishnu form is called Karana Shayi Vishnu. Karana Shayi Vishnu. Karana is the causal ocean. In this material world, there is a place called Karana Ocean, causal ocean. That causal ocean is where one Vishnu is lying down. He is lying down on the Karana ocean on a serpent bed, snake bed. That snake bed is called Shesha, Ananta Shesha, also called Ananta Shesha. Ananta is the form of the Lord who expands from Balaram for the sake of serving the Lord Himself in different ways. One of the ways in which He serves Lord is by becoming the Lord's bed. Ananta is the bed of the Lord. He is the throne of the Lord. He is the umbrella of the Lord. He is the footwear of the Lord. So He Himself expands to become the servitor of God in all these ways. Like you go to Trivandrum temple or you go to Adyar, Padmanabha Swami temple. There you see the Lord lying down as Padmanabha on Ananta Shesha. Wherever the Lord is lying down, He is lying down on a bed which is none other than Shesha, Ananta Shesha. So that Ananta Shesha, on whom all the 3 Vishnus, there are 3 Vishnus. The first Vishnu is the Karana Vishnu, Karana Shayi Vishnu, lying on the causal ocean. He is the source of all the universes. And this material world means there are many universes. Each universe has got many planets. On each planet there are many living beings. So all the universes are coming from the breathing of this first Vishnu called Karana Shayi Vishnu. He is lying on the causal ocean. Causal ocean because that is the cause of the creation of this material world, the cause of the creation. From that water, all these universes coming out by the breathing of this first Vishnu called Karana Shayi Vishnu. Then there is a second Vishnu who enters into each universe. After the universes come out of the breathing of this first Vishnu, there is the second Vishnu who expands from this first Vishnu, who is called Garbha Shayi Vishnu. Garbha Shayi Vishnu. The Garbha ocean. In each universe, half the universal shell is filled with water. That water is called Garbha water. That Garbha water, on that ocean, the second Vishnu is lying down, and he actually, from his navel, one lotus is coming out. That is the form which you see worshipped in Trivandrum or in this Adyar Padmanabha Swami temple. from the lotus navel, from the navel, from the lake in the navel region of this second Vishnu, one lotus flower is coming out. And on that lotus, Brahma is born. At the beginning of the creation, there are many planets, millions of planets. All the planets are residing or resting on the stem of that lotus. So that lotus is coming out of the navel of the second Vishnu, who is also lying on Ananta Shesha. He is also called Padmanabha. Padmanabha because Nabha means navel, Padma means lotus. A lotus flower is coming out of his navel. That's why he is also called Padmanabha. He is also called Garbhodaka Shahi Vishnu, the second Vishnu, who is within the universe in the Garbha ocean. Then a third Vishnu who expands out of the second Vishnu is called Kshirodaka Shahi Vishnu or Payodhi Shahi Vishnu. Paya means milk or Kshira means milk. So there is a milk ocean, another planet among the many planets in this universe. There is another planet called the planet in which there is an ocean of milk. In that ocean of milk there is an island called Shweta Dvipa. Dvipa means island. Shweta means it's in the middle of the milk ocean, the white milk ocean. So in that Shweta Dvipa, on that island called Shweta Dvipa, there is this third Vishnu who is the maintainer of the universe. All of you have heard Brahma the creator, Vishnu the maintainer, Shiva the destroyer. This Vishnu the maintainer is the third Vishnu responsible for this entire material creation. The maintainer Vishnu. He is also called Kshirodaka Shahi Vishnu. The Vishnu who is situated in the middle of the milk ocean. He is also lying on Ananta Shesha. He is also lying on Ananta Shesha. So he is the third Vishnu. And Shesha himself, who is the bedstead of Vishnu, he is also one of the expansions of Balaram. So Balaram has 5 expansions. One is Sankarshana, the second one is the Vishnu, the first Vishnu, Karnodaka Shahi Vishnu. The third expansion of Balaram is the second Vishnu, the Garbhodaka Shahi Vishnu. The fourth expansion of Balaram is the third Vishnu, the Kshirodaka Shahi Vishnu. And the last, fifth expansion of Balaram is Ananta Shesha. So all of them are the expansion of Balaram. Balaram himself in 5 different forms for 5 different purposes. They are all God. They are all Krishna. They are all one Supreme Lord. God in many different forms for different purposes, different functions, different relationships, different kinds of forms, different kinds of features. All are the Supreme Lord Himself. All have equal power. All have equal power. Their power is supreme. They are all dominators, predominators. They are all lords. They completely control everything and everyone. Nobody can control them. So they are one person. But they act simultaneously as different persons. They simultaneously act as different persons, but they are different persons. They are God only. One God. So this is inconceivable for us. How can one person be simultaneously present in millions of different forms, acting simultaneously as the controller, as the supreme controller, as the supreme master, as a supreme enjoyer, as a supreme Lord? How can one person be doing that? That is God. That is inconceivable for us. That God we cannot conceive. We have to hear from the scriptures. We have to hear the descriptions. We have to follow the spiritual process. Then we can come to know something about God. Who is God? What is God? What is His power? What is His personality? What are His features? We can come to know something only if we hear. So the scriptures are presenting this God, the personality of God, the Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Bhagavad Gita, In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in the 10th chapter in what all forms he expands himself, how he has entered the universe, how he has expanded himself. He is present in so many forms. He has entered into everything as the super soul, Paramatma. Into everybody's heart he enters as Paramatma. As Paramatma, he is directing everyone, giving intelligence, giving knowledge. He is the one who is circulating the pranavayu within our body, because of it the body is working like a wonderful machine. You see this body, there's so many organs, the heart is beating. All of us have experienced heart is beating like a pump, pumping blood. Continuously it is pumping. 72 times a minute the heart beats. How many times? 72 times a minute. For in a lifetime of a person, the person lives 80 years. 80 into 365, into 24, into 60, into 72. So many times the heart pump is beating. How is this pump working? It is working by one kind of current circulating, just like electric pump. You have in your house electric pump, it pumps up water. Like that, this is a pump which is working by the energy of one pranavayu. In this body there is one electric current that's circulating called pranavayu. That pranavayu is due to the Paramatma in the heart, is due to Krishna in the form of Paramatma in the heart. So he is responsible for this pranavayu circulation. Pranavayu circulation. That pranavayu is present as the fire of digestion. Krishna says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyannam Chaturvidam. We eat some rice, dal, sabji, sambar, kolambu, everything we eat, it gets digested and we get energy. How is that digestion happening? Converting that food into energy. No scientist can do this. No technology is possible to convert food into energy. Nobody can do that. Only Krishna can do it as Paramatma. What does he do? He actually digests the food. Pachami, annam, chaturvidam. So all the kinds of foods we eat, edible foods, that is converted into this energy by Vaishwanara, the fire of digestion. That fire of digestion is actually due to Paramatma. Krishna is Paramatma in the heart. So in so many ways, God is present. He has expanded himself and is present simultaneously acting, simultaneously working, simultaneously producing so many different effects. We should have the knowledge, the eyes, the understanding to see all this. That is God realization. So the scriptures help us, the acharyas help us, the guru helps us to understand God. So Nityananda is God. But a specific form of God, the form of God called Balaram. Nityananda is Balaram in the spiritual world. In the material world, he comes. When God incarnates, when Krishna incarnates, 5,000 years ago Krishna incarnated, came in his original form in Vrindavan, this Vrindavan on the earth. So Balaram came as his younger brother. Balaram also came in his original form as Balaram in Vrindavan. That same Krishna and Balaram come as devotees. 500 years back, Krishna came as Chaitanya. Chaitanya is in the form of a devotee of Krishna. And Balaram also came as a devotee. His name is Nityananda. His name as devotee is Nityananda. So Chaitanya, Nityananda, Krishna and Balaram as devotees who came 500 years back, incarnated in West Bengal, in the place called Navadvip, in order to teach us the simple method of Sankirtana for God realization. For God realization, the simple method of Sankirtana, Harinama Sankirtana. So they taught by their own example. By performing wonderful pastimes, Leela, they actually taught us the Sankirtana. So Nityananda is Balaram, who has expanded into these 5 forms in this one form, Sankarsana in the spiritual world, and other 4 forms, the 3 Vishnus and Shesha in the material world. So all these forms are forms of Nityananda or Balaram. They are all equal in power to God Himself. They are all God. They are all forms of God. They are God, the person, the same person. They act simultaneously. They are all controllers. They are not controlled. They are controllers. So they all act exactly according to the will of the Supreme Lord Krishna, Govinda. So Krishna is engaged in his pastimes in the spiritual world. According to his will, everything is going on. In this material world, in the Vaikuntha planets, everywhere, everything is going on exactly according to the will of Krishna. That Krishna is actually aloof from the entire material and spiritual worlds, the Vaikuntha planets and the material worlds. He is also simultaneously, through his expansions, in the form of his expansions, he is also simultaneously present and he is controlling and he is enjoying everywhere, in the material world, in the spiritual world, everywhere. So that is the inconceivable Supreme Lord Krishna. So his form as Balaram and Balaram as Nityananda, that Nityananda appeared about 500 years back in a place called Ekachakrapura. Ekachakrapura is in West Bengal, in the state of West Bengal. In that place, Nityananda appeared and he came to teach us this Sankirtana. So he performed the Kirtan, the Sankirtana of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has appeared also to teach us the Sankirtana. Chaitanya comes with his associates. His first associate is Nityananda. His second associate is Advaita Acharya. His third associate is Gadadhara. And his fourth associate is Srivasa. Together, Chaitanya with his four associates called Panchatattva, the five truths about Chaitanya himself. Chaitanya himself is Krishna, but he is present always with his associates to teach this Sankirtana. So Nityananda came to teach this Sankirtana. Nityananda performs pastimes with Chaitanya. Nityananda also performs pastimes with his other associates. He has got further associates. Each of the Panchatattva have got their associates. And they all came as devotees of Krishna, Vaishnavas. They appeared as Vaishnavas. Thousands of them, lakhs of them appeared. They all came in the guise of human beings. They appear like human beings, but they are coming from the spiritual world. They are coming from the spiritual world. They are all different personalities in the spiritual world. They appeared when Krishna appeared 5,000 years back as Krishna's associates, as Krishna's friends. Some of them are cowherd boyfriends of Krishna. Some of them are the cowherd men who are Nanda Maharaj and the associates of Nanda Maharaj, the relatives of Nanda Maharaj. Some of them appeared in Krishna Leela as gopis. Some of them appeared in Krishna Leela as younger gopis, elderly gopis. Elderly gopis are in the motherly affection towards Krishna and Krishna's cowherd boyfriends. The younger gopis are in a conjugal relationship with Krishna. They dance with Krishna in the rasa dance. So like that, so many associates of Krishna from the spiritual world, they come to this material world to attract all of us to join Krishna in the spiritual world. Our real home is in the spiritual world. We don't belong to this place. This is a temporary place of residence for us. Temporary place where we got a temporary business. What is a temporary business? To prepare ourselves to go to the spiritual world, which is our real home. So we have got an opportunity as human beings to prepare ourselves to go to the spiritual world where we belong. So to attract us, the instructions are given in the Shastra, scriptures, but people don't take scriptures so seriously, especially in Kali Yuga. So in order to attract us to go there and to give us an idea what it is like in the spiritual world, the Lord himself comes and he brings down the spiritual world. And he demonstrates the pastimes going on in the spiritual world. Just like Krishna came 5,000 years back, he displayed the pastimes full of bliss, full of opulence, full of enjoyment, full of so many different wonderful paraphernalia Krishna displayed. So, same way Chaitanya came and he also performed Sankirtana, in which everybody who participated in the Sankirtana went into ecstasy. Ecstasy means extreme joy which the body cannot contain. We experience some material pleasure by either eating something nice or hearing some nice music or relating with some person personally in a loving relationship. We experience some happiness, some joy. But this is material happiness which is very, very, very insignificant. It's very insignificant. It is very little. If you soberly think, what is the quantity of happiness you experience in material dealings? All the material happiness is called Chapala Sukha. Chapala means it is there for a very small time. Very small time. And then it is also dependent on so many arrangements. Material happiness means dependent on arrangement. Just like a man has to arrange his family in order to enjoy family relationship. He has to work so hard, then he has to get a proper job, then he has to get married, then he has to raise the family, then he has to provide for the family, and then he has to think of his old age, then he has to think of marrying his sons and daughters, at least the daughters. So like that, so many responsibilities for what? To get that happiness of family relationship with family members. And the family members also, they also expect so many things, so many arrangements have to be made, proper arrangements. Then only the happiness is there. Any relationship in this world, there has to be arrangement between two friends. Oh, let's go to the hotel and eat some nice dish and enjoy each other's company. Talking across the table, sitting on a dinner, nice dinner. Or in a tennis court, let us play one game of tennis or cricket and let us enjoy each other's company. So like this, so much arrangement has to be done, and that enjoyment is temporary. It is momentary. It is called Chapala Sukha. It is so conditional. It's dependent on the condition of your mind, condition of your body. If you're sick, you cannot enjoy material happiness. If you are got mental disturbance, fear or anxiety, you cannot enjoy. So all these conditions, if there is some disturbance in the outside world, some earthquake, some tsunami, some calamity, some war, some riots, you cannot enjoy. Some strike, then you cannot enjoy. So your enjoyment, your material happiness is temporary, is momentary, is highly conditional, but there is some other kind of happiness. The scripture describes Ananda. What is that Ananda? That Ananda is actually spiritual happiness, which is not dependent on any material condition, not dependent on material relationship. That Ananda is demonstrated by Chaitanya, Nityananda. Nitya Ananda. Nityananda's name also, Nityananda. Always, eternally he is happy. He is eternally blissful. He is distributing that happiness to all of us by inviting us to participate in Sankirtana. Through Sankirtana, you can experience a happiness which is independent of the condition of your body, which is independent of the condition of your mind, which is independent of your external conditions, which is not dependent on any of these things, material things. It is completely independent of all material conditions, material relationships, material position, everything. Anybody can enjoy this simply by joining Nityananda in Sankirtana. In Sankirtana. So Nityananda is always engaged in chanting and dancing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Nityananda performs so many pastimes to attract all of us to join in Sankirtana. and actually become happy, become blissful, become carefree, free from all anxiety. We are full of anxiety in this material world. We got so many anxieties. Because of so many responsibilities, because of so many different responsibilities, we got anxiety. But when you join Nityananda in Sankirtana, you become free from all anxieties because all your responsibilities are relinquished under the shelter of Nityananda. So in the evening, we have got Abhishek for the deities of Lord Nitai, Chaitanya Nityananda, the deities who are actually raising their hands. Those two deities are Chaitanya Nityananda. As you are facing them, to your right is Chaitanya, to your left is Nityananda, the two deities with raised hands. Always engage in Sankirtana. Sankirtana is done with raised hands, expressing joy. So coming to the point of the spiritual happiness, that happiness is called ecstasy, bhava. Ecstasy. Ecstasy means this body cannot actually contain that happiness, cannot really experience that happiness. Spiritual joy cannot be experienced in this material body. You have to experience in spiritual body. So that spiritual body is inside. You are that spiritual form, you are the spiritual body. This material body is different from you, is separate from you. Skin, blood, bones, flesh, the organs, the legs, the head, the hands, the legs. All these are parts. They are joined together and one body is made. Inside the body, you are a resident of the body, Dehi. Inside the Deha, you are the Dehi. But spiritual body, spiritual form, spiritual happiness is not with this body. With your spiritual body, you can experience that spiritual happiness. So when you experience spiritual happiness, what happens? This body cannot contain that. So in spiritual happiness, this body will begin to shake. Uncontrollably shake. Normally we see somebody shaking means he is very afraid. He is trembling with fear. That is material condition of fear. Somebody may, extreme fear, somebody may start trembling. But Chaitanya, Nityananda, when they experience this spiritual joy, ecstasy, they also tremble. But their trembling is spiritual, due to spiritual happiness. Also, tears will flow from the eyes. Generally when tears flow, it is somebody is crying because of something very sad, some misery, some uncontrollable emotion of unhappiness, distress. But another kind of crying is there, tears of joy. That is due to ecstasy. This body cannot contain that ecstasy, that extreme joy. So that ecstasy is real spiritual happiness, Ananda. That Ananda we can experience by Kirtana, Sankirtana of this Hare Krishna. So we have this Sankirtana in which you can participate. Nityananda taught us this Sankirtana by which we can, in which you can participate, experience that extreme joy very easily if we simply absorb our mind in the chanting and dancing of that Hare Krishna Sankirtan. That is what Nityananda taught. And also, Nityananda teaches us the philosophy of Krishna consciousness by becoming the original spiritual master. He is called Adi Guru. He is the first spiritual master, and all other spiritual masters, later spiritual master, are his representatives. Like Prabhupada is a representative of Nityananda. He is teaching us the science of the spiritual subject matter. In a scientific way, he is teaching the spiritual subject matter. Like all that I explained, Balaram is there, Krishna is there, Balaram is there, Sankarshana, the three Vishnus, the Shesha, all expansions, all of them are present in their respective positions for the sake of this material world, for the sake of the spiritual world. All this science is taught by Nityananda, and it is coming from Nityananda through the Guru, Parampara, the disciplic succession. So Prabhupada is teaching, is explaining, is writing in the books, explaining this science also. So Nityananda also is the Adi Guru. Nityananda also is the super soul in the heart. As Paramatma, Nityananda is present in our heart as Paramatma. Nityananda is the maintainer, Vishnu, of this entire creation. He is the Vishnu who is on the Garbha ocean. Same Nityananda is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He is sustaining all the planets. All the planets are resting actually in that stem of the lotus which grows from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He is the resting place of all the universes as Mahavishnu, as Karanodakashayi Vishnu. He is the Sankarshana in the spiritual planets, sustaining all the spiritual planets. So that Nityananda has come in the form of a devotee in order to teach the Sankirtana. Simple method of Sankirtana by which we can become completely joyful, blissful, free from anxiety. We can actually prepare ourselves simply by Sankirtana to go to the spiritual world where we belong. Provided we become free from all anxiety, we become free from all material attachments, all material plans for enjoying this world. We got so many plans. We will do this, we will do that, we will enjoy this way, that way. So many plans we have. So the scriptures say, give up all these plans. That is actually retirement. What is retirement? Retirement means vanaprastha. Literally means going to the forest. But of course, now it is not practical to go to the forest. For vanaprastha, one has to retire from all material engagements. Material engagements which will be responsibilities due to some family, people or whatever, society or whatever. But one has to become engaged after retiring from material activities. One has to become engaged completely in spiritual activities of Krishna consciousness, of Sankirtana. And engage in Sankirtana and prepare yourself to go to the spiritual world. Death is going to come. You quit this body. You don't die. Death means you don't die. You leave this body. But after leaving this body, don't enter another similar body, another material body. You go to the spiritual world, provided you prepare yourself. You become free from all material engagements, all material attachments, and you are ready by spiritual engagement, by spiritual absorption. By spiritual absorption, you are ready to go to the spiritual world. Then you are transferred directly to the spiritual world at the time of death. You go to the spiritual world to live eternal life full of bliss and knowledge. So that is the mission of all the incarnation, that's the mission of Nityananda. He has come to invite us, come to the spiritual world. Prepare yourself now and come to the spiritual world by Sankirtana, by absorbing the mind in Sankirtana. And stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Nityananda Prabhu ki.